Have you ever felt like you're just getting by, totally wiped out? What if you could start enjoying life again? Or maybe even for the first time ever? Adrienne Simmons joins us to share how a change in mindset and a whole life wellness approach brought her back to life.
It's time to take control back from your chronic fatigue and say, I'm kicking you out the door. Energy is taking over from now.
Hey everyone, quick heads up as you tune in today. You might notice my voice sounds like it's coming from the next room over. Yep, I totally spaced and forgot to put the mic in front of me, so bear with the distant amber vibe in this episode. Thanks for sticking with me, even when I sound like I'm hollering from the other side of the room. Now, let's get into the good stuff.
Adrienne Simmons found a way to turn her fatigue around and regain her spark, which is evident in just her beautiful smile. If you cannot see it, she is just radiating. Recognized vitality coach, Adrienne has not only reclaimed her energy, but has also empowered so many others to do the same through her Energy Edge program. She brings with her the wisdom and experience. This is huge. The experience and the success of her methods, ready to share how you can also achieve a life full of energy again. Adrienne, welcome. So many of us have been there, right? Feeling completely drained. Could you take us back to what life was like for you at your lowest point with that fatigue?
Absolutely. And Amber, thank you so much for saying yes to having me as a guest on your podcast. I just love sharing this message.
It's an honor.
I start off with we can either continue living our life to the min or we can ramp up and live our life to the max. But the only way we can do that is to ensure that we are supplying our beautiful, precious bodies with the energy that she or he needs. My story is all about lost and found. You remember when you were in grade school, you might have lost one of your mitts. You had to go to the principal's office. They had a storage area there, and maybe you were able to find the other missing one. My story might not have turned out that way, but by the grace of God, it did. Growing up, I had boundless energy in my 20s, my 30s, even into my late 40s. I did what I wanted, when I wanted. I ate what I wanted. I drank whatever I wanted. I indulged in anything I wanted, and I was able to still bounce up and do what I had to do the next day. All that changed when I crossed over my 50-year line. I don't know what it is about that number, but I've come to realize with a lot of individuals, when they cross over into their 50s, a lot of things change for us hormonally inside. But if you're not aware of it, if you're not paying attention, and if you're still making certain lifestyle choices that are not in the best interest of your body sooner or later is going to start to break down. And that breakdown can look and feel like fatigue. And that's what happened to me. I continued. I worked all day. I went out after work. Sometimes that turned into a party during the week, after hours. And with that came a lot of drugs, a lot of music, a lot of alcohol, and a lot of rock and roll. Sometimes I would find myself 6 a.m. in the morning, just getting home, changing my clothes, and turning around and going back to work. But as a result of that, people started noticing my fatigue at work. I started getting called out on mistakes I was making. And I realized, why can't I maintain the same level of fun and pleasure and joy and lifestyle that I did just a couple of years ago? So what? I've crossed over the 50-year-old line. It all came to a head when I attended one of my medical examinations. I've always been regimented with that. Every year I go for my medical examination. This year, I was probably 55, 56. When I walked into my doctor's office, the first thing he said to me, because I had been a patient of his for multiple years, Adrienne, what's wrong? You look, you look terrible. What's happened? And I said, what are you talking about? He goes, you look like you've put on a sizable amount of weight. I can see the bags under your eyes, and your face just looks dry and drawn. What the hell is going on? Now, again, listeners, remember, as we're growing up, what did we always hear our parents say? Ah, she's in her 50s. She's supposed to be slowing down. Ah, he's in his 60s. He's supposed to be feeling aches and pains. So I said, Doc, I'm 55, 56. This is normal. This is what I've heard growing up. This is the language I heard. This is where I'm supposed to be. And he goes, Adrienne, not at all. You have always been a symbol of vitality. I've always admired that about you. But I am noticing over the last couple of years, I didn't say anything. I wanted to see if maybe you would course correct on your own. But it's been a couple of years now. You're now in your mid 50s, and I have no choice but to let you know I'm really noticing, Adrienne, a drastic change in your overall kind of health. And then the cherry on the cake. When my blood tests came back, he called me and said, Adrienne, I have bad news for you. For the first time since I have been your physician, I'm letting you know you are now pre-diabetic. I don't know what you've been doing, Adrienne, but I'm telling you now, if you don't make a change immediately, you are one step away from crossing over to being diabetic. Now, Amber, the reason why that finally made me sit up and take notice was because my father passed away from his diabetes when he was in his late 60s. I'm now 55, 56, and the only thing I'm thinking about is, does that mean I might die in 10 years? And that's all it took. I said, okay, you know what, Adrienne? You have to make some serious decisions. I enjoyed the life I had. I got to be honest. I enjoyed that party life. I enjoyed the music and the lights and the excitement. And I realized after the fact that the trigger was when my daughter left and went to university. It was always my daughter and I from the time that she was 3. We always did things together. I always had a reason to come home. Even when she was in her teens and her late teens, I had a reason to come home. She's now gone to university. The first couple of months, I'd come home to an empty home. And I realized, geez, I'd walk around and I'd look around and I would be bored. I never allowed myself to find an activity that would give me pleasure and joy to kind of make up for that time. What I found inside was that party scene, and that kept me up, and that was exciting, and that was music, and that was fun. And I didn't have to think about being bored at all. I would leave work, I'd go out and eat, I'd go out to a party. I had no reason to be bored anymore. But then again, when I got that diagnosis, I said, you know what, Adrienne? Got to make some decisions. Now, I'm going to say something a little bit humorous. I'm sure, Amber, you and your listeners know Miss Betty White.
Mhm.
And there was something about Betty White that I have admired from the time she was on the Golden Girls right up until I think it was 88, 89. She was a creator and a director of a 2-part comedy series for seniors. And for me, it's like, you know what? That's my role model. I want to be active and working and just having fun at 99 and beyond. So once I got that diagnosis, A, it was the fright of dying, and B, it was, I don't want to disappoint Betty. Because for me, it was like, Betty, I'm going to be just like you. I did not want to disappoint Betty White, and I wanted to be there for my daughter. What if she got married? What if she had children? I wanted to be there to enjoy all of that. And I also love traveling. I love to travel. And my goal was one day I'm going to travel as many countries as possible. So when I'm sitting there thinking, you can either continue with the lifestyle choices you're making, continue partying, continue the drugs, continue the rock and roll, or you can, do you want to be there for your daughter? Do you want to live another 10 years? Do you want to show Betty White that, you know what, you're doing what you have to do to live that life of vitality? I made a decision. It was January. I think it was a couple of months after my medical checkup. It was a bitterly cold winter in Toronto. I live in Toronto, Canada. I remember sitting in my garage. It was probably maybe about 20, 25 below zero. It was a bitterly cold night. And I would always smoke in my garage. I never smoked in my home because, again, my daughter. And I remember sitting in my garage freezing cold. It took me 15 minutes to layer up to put all those clothes on just to go outside. And I'm smoking a cigarette, I'm smoking a joint, and I burst out crying. And I said, God, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this anymore. I need your help. I don't want to die in 10 years. I want to be there for my daughter if she gets married. I want to be there for my grandchildren. And I don't want to disappoint Miss Betty White. But I can't do it on my own. I need your help. I remember putting out the cigarette, putting out the joint, going back inside my home, and I went to bed. The next day, I woke up as normal, but I don't know. I don't know what changed, but I just know that I didn't feel like going out after work with my friends. I decided to come home. And it continued over that week. I just noticed that I was moving away from that environment that wasn't serving my purpose. And then I noticed that as I was going to the grocery store, I was shopping more so from the outer aisles. Like, I'm going to get some apples. I'm going to get a little bit more oranges. And I'm not going to bother with the processed food. And I just noticed over the next month that I was gradually shifting to healthier lifestyle choices. And then I didn't feel like cigarettes. When I started smoking, it was, I don't like the taste of this. Within 2 weeks, I didn't feel like smoking anymore. And I smiled and I said, you know what, God? This has to be you. This has to be you. Where are these shifts coming from all of a sudden? And that's when I said, okay, I'm on track. I'm on course. Let me now figure out and create a nutritional plan that will continue to support this trajectory. So I sat down and I did some research. Okay, I'm a woman, I'm in her late 50s. What should I be eating? What does my body need? What are my hormones asking for? I went to the local gym. I signed up right away, started going a couple of times a week. During my lunch breaks, I used to just sit in the lunchroom with everybody else. I started going out for a walk. And as I started implementing these healthier lifestyle choices, my energy levels started to increase and my fatigue started to decrease. And I said, cool, cool. And I felt stronger and I felt more powerful. And then I realized, body, you are responding to what I am giving you, to what you need. You need nutritional food. You need movement every day. Because I moved away from that crowd that definitely didn't have my best interest, I now created, I now, I'm sorry, I now started doing research for networks of maturing women that were on a trajectory to living a healthy lifestyle. So I now started to surround myself with individuals that also were on the same trajectory as me, that supported me, that held me accountable. And my energy levels continued to rise. Miraculously, I started to get compliments. Jen, how come you've got energy all of a sudden? How come you're bounding around? Your face is glowing. You seem to be a lot stronger. What are you doing? And of course, I shared. I said, you know what, you guys? It's been a couple of months, but I created a nutritional plan for myself. I joined the gym. I'm surrounding myself now with individuals who also are living a healthier lifestyle choice. I'm definitely doing a lot better to manage my stress. I had a whole lot of stress when I was living that particular lifestyle. My stress levels also started to go down. I felt more at peace. I then incorporated meditation and I realized what a beautiful, calming feeling it gave me if I ever felt a little bit stressed, or if I ever felt, it's so much work to go to the gym, I'm tired of this. I would just meditate and come back down to, but what's your why? What's your why, Adrienne? Every time I meditated, a feeling came over me. It was like that divine spirit inside of me that always said, Adrienne, your why, your daughter, your grandkids, Betty White, traveling worldwide. So meditation really was a big part of my journey in moving towards a healthier lifestyle. And as I continued over the 9 months, it was about a 9 month period. I noticed by the time I kind of hit that 9 month period, my energy levels consistently went from a 3 to a 4 out of 10 when I was living in total fatigue, 3 to 4 out of 10 if I was lucky. 9 months later, when I cleaned up my act, I was blessed with energy levels 8, 9 out of 10 consistently every single day. Sooner or later, people would come up to me and say, you know what? If I touch you, can I get some of your energy? I thought that was cute. I love that. Part of my role at work, I would do a lot of presentations virtually. At the end of my presentation, I would always open it up for question and answer. And the question, instead of being related to what my topic was, because again, I work in the career, so I'm a career coach, the question would always be, oh my God, I could feel your energy through the screen. Oh my God, you have so much energy. Oh my God, I love your energy. And I'm thinking, yeah, okay, but what does it have to, we're talking about careers. And they said, no, no, we want to talk about your energy. Can we connect with you? Can we connect with you? I said, but career, no, no, energy. We need more energy. If we had more energy, maybe we would do better in our career. Maybe we'd do better when it comes to other parts of our life. And that's when I said, you know what? All of these people complimenting me and talking about my energy, I realized energy is a commodity for people who don't live with it every single day. And that's when a light bulb went on. Maybe it was my divine spirit. Maybe it was the law. Something came to me and said, you know what, Adrienne? If you were able to clean up your life and rebuild your energy from a cellular level so that you get the opportunity every day to live an optimized, healthy body, energized life, you can do it for others. And that's when I decided to create the Energy Edge. Unlock your precious body's energy potential. I created the program, I put it out into the universe, and I've been blessed with so many individuals that have come back to me and said, you know what, Adrienne? Let's talk about your program. Let's talk about your program. I know that I have a purpose in life, but I'm just tired. I just don't have the energy by the time I get home. But I know that I want to do so much more with my life. If I had your energy, I could step up and I could conquer the world. Adrienne, if I had your energy, I could spend so much more quality time with my grandkids as opposed to always sitting on the sideline. Adrienne, if I had your energy, my son has been asking me to coach his baseball team. But you know what? By the time I'm finished work, I'm just tired. I could say to my son, finally, guess what, son? I'm going to be the coach next year. Adrienne, you know what? I've always wanted to go back to school, but by the time I'm just tired. I just don't have the brain energy to think about when I get home to now open up my computer and self-study. But I know that, you know what? I've always wanted to go back to school. I've always wanted to do something else, but I'm just tired all the time. If I just had a little bit more energy, I could do so much more throughout my day. And as I hear this constantly, I am constantly appreciative of individuals such like you that allow me to share my message on your podcast, because there may be somebody in your audience right now that knows that they want to show up. They want to show up for their family. They want to show up at work. They want to show up for their business. They want to show up for themselves, but their chronic fatigue is saying, I'm in charge. Not today. Sit down, sit down, sit down. It's time to take control back from your chronic fatigue and say, I'm kicking you out the door. Energy is taking over from now. And that's basically my story. And that's the message that I continually share every single day whoever I'm blessed to share it with.
Just a quick interruption.
Yo, word up, this is Ethan from the Nonchalant Perfectionist podcast. I'm so glad you tuned in here, man. Hold on, just real quick. Did you know that this podcast, as well as my own, are part of a much larger world called the Podcast Connection Network? Yeah, we have some pretty amazing shows hosted by even more amazing souls. And look, we're just waiting to be discovered. You curious? Yeah, I know you are. Head over to the link in the description below. Trust me, you won't be disappointed.
Okay, now back to the show.
Adrienne, first of all, thank you for sharing that. And yes, we love your energy. We can definitely feel it. We love it. And I know that it comes through even through the audio, definitely. So I want to go back, and breaking it down for our listeners is, I think I hear that when you got to this place, you're like, this isn't working. And I think so many of our listeners are in that spot. The way that I'm doing it isn't working. I'm not reaching my goals. I'm not, like you said, we've hit that plateau of we can't do the same thing that we've done and get the same results. We have to switch something. And I think so many of us are at that point, like, okay, well, what the heck do I do? Like, how do I how do I get that? I see it, but it feels so far away from me. And I think I hear you saying is really, it was about those baby steps. It was about really being very self-aware. And you were like, this is what's happening to me. My daughter's not here anymore. I have all this time. I have all these emotions. I'm bored. Really being self-aware. And then, the accountability of your doctor or your physician saying, hey, something's off. You could have easily said, you know what? I'm 50, like you said, I'm over 50. That's just the way it is. But you didn't. It was that it may seem small, but it was really big because you had a choice in that moment to let that information really sink in and become very self-aware. I think that's one of the biggest pivots on this journey, is that self-awareness. Like, yeah, this isn't who I want to be, right? And then that curiosity of, well, what can I do different? What other options? And like you said, those baby steps of, it wasn't just overnight. You're like, let me create this plan and I'm going to follow it and this works, right? You're like, I'm going to start buying more apples. I'm going to start getting more oranges. I'm going to start changing these small things. And I think that that's so important, because this life journey and being a human is really overwhelming. And I think that we sometimes feel like we have to do it all at once, and it's overwhelming. Like, I don't even know where to start. And for a lot of us, that keeps us very stuck. Like, if I can't do all of it, I can do nothing.
Nothing. Yes.
What I absolutely love is what you said, is the more that I took in what my body wanted and needed, the less I wanted the cigarettes. And I absolutely love that, because I tell all my clients, I don't remove, like, hey, stop smoking, because it doesn't resonate. It doesn't work. It's that lack. It's that if you tell me not to have Oreos, I'm going to go eat the whole freaking box. Okay. But if you give me some nutrients, when your body begins to feel what it feels like to feel good, you naturally are like, I don't want those things. And we don't have to deprive. We don't have to starve ourselves. We don't have to be mean. In a lack of better terms, is punishing ourselves. Like, you can't have that. That is a byproduct of giving your body what it wants and needs. And I love that you said that. And I just wanted to highlight that, because I think that so many people on this journey are like, I have to stop smoking. I have to change what I eat. I have to exercise. I have to do this. I have to take away this. And that sounds terrible. No wonder nobody wants to do that.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But what you were saying is, hey, I'm just going to start buying more apples. Like you said, I also love what you said, is that a lot of times as parents, our why is our children. And I think that so many of us, when our children are grown and then they move out, we don't know what to do with ourselves.
Exactly. Yes.
And we have to figure out who we are. But our children can still be a why. And I think that that's okay. It shifts differently. And that why becomes us wanting that connection with them, to be able to do life with them. And so that shifts a little differently. And having a why and like you even said, Betty White, like there are no supposed to be's on what your why looks like.
Exactly.
It is your why. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be right for anybody else. Just your why. And I love that. And really holding that why in your space.
Mm-hmm.
And when you did that, it allowed you to, in one aspect, move away from anything that didn't bring you closer to that why.
Yes. Yes.
While simultaneously doing things that brought you closer to that why.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And so it wasn't from this really negative viewpoint. It was more bringing you towards something versus I don't get to party anymore.
Exactly. Exactly.
And I think that that's so huge. And I think those perspective changes and just viewing life in a different light, right? And having those little shifts, really being, again, that self-awareness. And I think too, part of that shifting is acknowledging how we're feeling. Like, I'm feeling crappy right now. I'm sad. This is not working for me. I am defeated. I am lost.
Yes.
And I am alone. I don't know what to do.
Declare it. Yes. Yes.
And I think when we acknowledge that, when we validate, when we get it out of our body, whether that's writing, whether that's talking to somebody, to ourselves,
Mhm.
to the universe, to God, it takes away its power of like keeping it locked inside.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes.
And I think that's so huge. And that validation of those emotions holds so much power that I don't think that we realize even, right? Just validating our own feelings like, yeah, I can't do this anymore. So many of us are there. It's okay. You're not alone, because we have all been like, you know what? That's it. I'm done. I tried everything. I'm done. I don't know what to do. I don't want to be here anymore.
Mm-hmm.
This is too much. This is overwhelming. This is frustrating. And it makes sense.
It certainly does.
Because life as humans is really hard. It is really hard, and it's a lot.
Yeah, it is.
And so that was another big thing, is you validating getting that out of your body instead of just keeping it in. That's huge. And I love also what you said too, is that this didn't happen overnight. This is like a year, right? You kind of just took us through this year of these little micro baby steps.
Exactly.
In moving towards something which naturally brought you away from the old.
Exactly.
And I love that. And I think that that's so huge, because so many of us are there. We know we want something. We know what we want. Like you said, we want to be those parents, those grandparents that can run around and be playful and enjoy this body. And I think something really big and powerful that you mentioned is this stigma that after 50, we are supposed to naturally decline and not have a beautiful, energetic, fun, playful life.
Exactly.
And I do not declare that. I say no. I'm with you. I say no. See, look at her guns. Yes.
Oh,
that was amazing. Beautiful. If you guys can't see, she has these beautiful, amazing, strong, beautiful arms.
Thank you.
So I love that. And I think that in this society, we have to be really careful, because we could use that. You could have easily, like I said, used that to stay there.
Yeah.
And I think those small steps that moved you away from a life that wasn't serving you, allowing you to begin to feel what it feels like to feel good. And I think that this society does not know what it feels like to feel good.
Exactly.
And we have to experience that little by little by little.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I just want to remind our listeners that Adrienne didn't get there overnight. I didn't get here overnight. And we go back. We go back. Life happens. Traumas happen. And what do we have to do? We have to go back to those beginning baby steps. We have to begin, okay, where do we start? Back at the beginning. I have done this several times. In fact, to be completely honest, because life hit and there was something traumatic, I went back, I reverted. So what am I doing? I'm like, I'm shopping on the outer edges. I'm going to pick up those avocados. I'm not going to pick up the energy drink because I was using that to cope,
Yeah.
right? And it's okay.
Mhm.
We all get there. But it's that self awareness like, but what's our why? Let's be really self aware. Where do we want to go? Where do we want to be? And why?
Yeah. You know,
And that why, when we get to those places where life is too much, that why is going to help us combat all of those old programmings.
absolutely. Amber, if I may just kind of piggyback on what you're saying,
Yes, please.
as I went through my journey and as I continue, because just because I made it to my journey and I was able to kind of turn my life around, it is an ongoing process. You don't just get there and stop and feel, okay, well, then you know what? I don't have to do anything else. Every day that I get up, my intention is today, Adrienne, make as many healthy lifestyle choices as you can.
Ooh, I love that.
Absolutely. I'm gonna be honest with you. It was my birthday earlier this month. I was taken out a couple of times, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And to be honest with you guys, I could have had a salad and a glass of water, but I said, you know what? It's my birthday. I want the wings. I want the nachos. I want the hamburger. I want the cheesecake. I want the alcohol. And I have to be honest, I did it over the 4 days. Now, because my body is a healthy, energetic body, she felt it
She's
right
like, what
away.
are
And
you
she
doing?
let me know. She let me know. And every day I woke up, it's like, oh my God, I feel terrible. I drag myself through the day. And because I am so now connected to my body, I talk to her all the time. I said, sweetheart, I'm sorry. It's my birthday. I know it's not an excuse, but honey, my friends are going to be taking me out. I just don't want to just sit there and have a salad and everybody else is having that. I got to be honest, I'm going to be eating food that you don't need, but I want. And so I apologized to her that every single day after, but the time my birthday finished, and again, my birthday was the beginning of the month, I'm back on track. But what happens is once you clean up your body, and if you pay attention to your body, if you ingest anything that your body doesn't need to ensure your health, she's going to let you know. He is going to let you know. So I like to say, you scratch my back, I'll scratch your back. Adrienne, give me healthy food, give me exercise, reduce the stress, ensure that you're surrounded in a healthy network. I'm going to give you energy. I'm going to give you energy. I'm going to give you energy. So for me, it boils down to a simple choice: quid pro quo. That means you do for me, I do for you. If you want a healthy, energetic body, your body just says, just give me some plant-based foods. Just let me move around for 20 minutes a day. Just let me just laugh a little bit. Just feel a little good, Adrienne. Our bodies don't ask a lot of us. They don't ask a lot of us. So if we just, okay, You want some vegetables, you want some fruits, you want some grains, you want some fish. Okay. And as a result, you're going to give me this energy so I can power through what I need to get done today. I can do that, body. Get outside in the sunlight. Feed your body the vitamin E. Okay, body, I can get outside and I can give you some sunlight. No problem. So I have learned in my own personal life and what I try to impart wisdom with my clients and even with my colleagues, not even my clients, anybody that I talk to. If I'm at work and if I see somebody kind of moving a little bit slow or complaining about fatigue, I'll say, you know what? Would you like a little pep in your step tomorrow? Why don't you maybe try just a little bit more vegetables? Why don't you try come outside with me today? Let's go for a walk at lunchtime as opposed to just walking from your desk to walk to the lunchroom and then walk back to your desk again. So I'm always imparting these little gems that I'm hoping that, okay, Adrienne, I can go for a walk with you today. Okay, you know what, Adrienne? I think I'm going to bring a little bit more fruit with my lunch tomorrow. So at the end of the day, it will always start off with, if you want to live a little bit more healthier, if you want to do a little bit more in your life, all you have to do is just give your body a little bit more of what he or she needs. No one's asking you to make any huge changes. Your body's just saying, instead of McDonald's, can we maybe just have a salad tonight? Instead of just sitting on the sofa after dinner, can we maybe just walk around the block once? Instead of drinking that can of Coke, can we maybe just have a little bit of water, Adrienne? Instead of all those negative thoughts, you're listening to the news and Gaza and Israel and the fights and the Donald Trump and the negative and the negative. Why don't you put on some music that's going to make you get up and dance? Why don't you watch a comedy? Why don't you listen to some jokes? Why don't you look at some pictures of your family that you love? Why don't you go outside and look at the beautiful garden and the lush trees? That fills up our emotional energy, our mental energy with so much beautiful, beautiful, beautiful energy. And it's so simple. You put on a nice song. You walk outside in nature. It's so, so easy for us to enjoy the sweetest things in life that gives us so much pleasure. But, for some of us, we make it seem like, I'm not going to say hard because it's not hard to go outside and walk around the block once. It's not hard to put on a comedy as opposed to sitting there on social media and listening to negative news. For me, it boils down to, what is it that you want? It has to start off with you making that choice that, you know what? I'm tired of always being physically tired. I'm tired of always being mentally tired. I'm tired of always these negative thoughts. I'm surrounded by negativity. I need to move away from that. How can I move away from that negative and bring in more positive? And most important for me, Amber, our spiritual wellness. For me, it all starts with our spiritual wellness. Every single one of us are living organisms, whether we're a human organism, whether we're a plant organism, whether we're an animal organism, whether we're a bird organism, whether we're organisms that live inside the sea. And because we are all living organisms, we are all interconnected and we have to coexist on this planet together. And because of that, we need to respect each other. We need to respect one another. So when I go outside, I acknowledge the trees. I acknowledge the birds. Every time I pass a dog, I say, "Hey, sweetie, how you doing?" Every time I go by someone's garden, I went for a walk before our recording, and someone's garden was already growing, and there was yellow flowers and red and the green, and the buds were coming up. And I had to stop and I had to say, "You are beautiful. I can't wait to see you in another couple of weeks." I'm acknowledging other living organisms. And as such, I felt so positive after that, knowing that I was able to acknowledge other beauty that also gives me beauty. Our vegetation provides us with oxygen. I'm grateful for that. Our animals provide us with love and comfort. I'm grateful for that. You are a living organism. You said yes to me being on your show. I'm grateful for that. So I am acknowledging all the gratitude that comes back to me from other living organisms that I am blessed to embrace and see every single day. And as a result, I am spiritually filled with energy. I am emotionally filled with energy. I am mentally filled with energy. And I am physically filled with energy. I have a healthy energy body. And because of that, people feel it. They feel my energy. I was walking, as a matter, and someone said, geez, you're walking with power. And I said, you know what? Because I'm feeling great. And they said, God, I wish I can walk like you. I said, you know what? I'm a health and wellness coach. I live over here. Stop by and see me, and I'll give you my business card. They said, really? I could be like that? I said, you certainly can. And then I continued because I know I have to come back to you to get my recording on time.
I love that. And I love what you're talking about, the reciprocity. It's this reciprocity, this give and take. We all want to be seen. We all want to matter. We all want to be valued, right? And if I see you, garden, I see you. And and then the garden is like giving that energy back. Who knows? You might get something from that garden. But it's acknowledging the beauty. And when we stop to acknowledge the beauty, life can't help but stop and acknowledge your beauty, and it will come back to you, right? I love that. I also love what you're saying is you said, what can we do? There's so many things that we feel like we can't do, right? Like, as an example, I always hear, you have to work out 30 minutes. And people are like, I can't do that. I'm like, okay, I get it. But what can you do? Can you work out for 5 minutes? I'm a timer whore. I have these timers everywhere because my brain is like, yeah, 30 minutes. No, I'm not down about that. But I can do anything for 15 minutes.
Bite ceases.
And it's what can you do? Maybe I can't get up and make this gourmet meal, but can I have a carrot versus with ranch or whatever versus the potato chips? Like, what can I do? And I think that that's really huge because it doesn't, like you said, doesn't have to be these really big, huge shifts. But it's what can I do? Like you said, you wake up, what can I choose healthier? How can I make healthy choices? It's not, Adrienne, I'm going to wake up, you're going to make all the right choices, and you're going to, no, it's what can I do today? What choices can I make that move me closer to where I want to be? And I love that because it removes that expectation and that perfectionism of having to produce something that honestly we cannot recreate every single day. And for me, for myself, my clients, whatever, when I'm coaching, it's how can we make something repeatable every day? Because that's how we can do it. Make it fun and repeatable.
Exactly.
Because we're human and we need that dopamine. We have to make it fun. Otherwise, it's going to be terrible and we're going to be fighting along the way. And honestly, we're probably not going to get there.
Bingo.
We're going to crash and burn. And so I was jotting down notes when you were talking because I was like, oh, this is good. Oh, this is good. I loved what you said about your birthday. You acknowledged it. You guys, we're not saying don't ever have indulgences. That's not real. We're not saying that. We're saying we're real. What we're saying is be self-aware, acknowledge it. Hey, I love how you talk to your body like, listen, beautiful. I know that you're not going to like this, but this is what we're choosing for the next few days. And we'll be okay. I know we're going to feel like crap, but we'll make it through. Right. I love that because you're validating, you're acknowledging, you're being honest with yourself, and you're allowing yourself to choose that. And I think when we don't, and when we say we shouldn't have, say, the drink or the cake, right? When we say we shouldn't have that, we can't have that, then when we choose it, Now we're messing with a whole different ball game of guilt and shame.
Exactly.
And so I absolutely love what you're saying is have grace for yourself. We're going to live this life. So I absolutely love that. And I also love what you said. And it's so simple. We hear it so often, but it's so true. If we give our body what it needs, it's going to respond in a way that we're asking it to. A lot of people on this life journey, so many have gone through really traumatic things. And it has taken a really big toll on our bodies. Most people live in that fight or flight, right? And when we're trying to come out of that, when we're trying to reprogram our brains, create new neuroplasticity, we're trying to change old habits, we're trying to break generational curses, we're trying to do all these different things. It's really big shit.
It is.
It's really a lot.
It is.
And our bodies are like, yo, this is a lot. I'm trying to help you out here. Can you help me out here? And so like what you said is our body needs those mitochondrial nutrients in order to create the energy that we're asking it to produce to continue on this life journey, to heal, to work through, to acknowledge, to connect, to feel these emotions, to work through these traumas. Your body needs energy to do that. And if we're not providing our body that energy, it works great. I mean, it works fantastic on minimal. Like we can abuse our body and it still
Yes.
responds
Yes.
awesomely.
Yes.
Thank you, bodies, because do some damage to it, right? And it's still, I mean, miraculous at how it functions, even on extremely low love.
Exactly.
And so when we begin to give our body that energy it needs, it's like you said, that reciprocity. All right, I give you what you need. I'm gonna give you what you
Scratch
need now.
mine, I'll scratch yours.
Exactly. I love that. And it seems so like we hear it all the time, right? But when we stop and again, those baby steps, I can't give you all of what you need in this moment, but what can I give you? I can give you a walk around the block. I can give you go stepping out barefoot outside.
Yeah, that's lovely. Yes.
I can do that right now. Like I have 5 minutes. That won't even take me 5 minutes. 1 minute. Do you have 1 minute? What can I do?
Oh,
I absolutely love that. I love that. And I think that it's encouraging to me again. It's such a great reminder because this fast-paced life and these expectations and this overwhelming of not enough and supposed to be can just overshadow what can I do? Even just a moment is beautiful. And I thank you. I thank you. And I know the listeners thank you because that's so huge that like, okay, this is doable. This is doable.
It really
I
is.
don't have to do it all one day. I don't have to do it all at once. I can do it slower, like manageable, right? So
Absolutely.
I love so much of what you're saying and what you're about. Adrienne, can you tell us um a little bit more about your program? And I know I'll have the link to the website and all of your information, but just maybe can you just tell us a little bit about that program?
Absolutely. When I start working with a client, the first thing I start with is discussing the dimensions of wellness. I think it's important for individuals to understand that as human beings, we are made up of some key dimensions. Now, for me, there's 8 key dimensions, and not in any particular order. I just do it alphabetically. There's obviously our emotional wellness, our financial wellness, our intellectual wellness, mental wellness, nutritional / physical wellness. And then we have social wellness and our spiritual wellness as well too. So once I lay out all of the dimensions of wellness that make us human beings, my next question is, take a few minutes and I want you to rate yourself honestly on a scale from 10 to 1. 10 being in that dimension, fantastic, I feel powerful, down to 1, I'm not doing good at all. I'm not doing good at all. And I feel that most people, especially if they're really serious about making healthier lifestyle choices for themselves, and they've decided that having a whole lot more energy would make a marked difference in their life, they do rate themselves quite honestly. Once I see the results, I say, any of the dimensions that you rated yourself under a 5, those are the dimensions that are sucking out your energy. So once I know what those dimensions are, I tailor my Energy Edge program around those dimensions. So for you, if it's financially, I'm not doing good at all. I'm just in debt and I just don't know how to manage my money. You have to realize that as human beings, every part of our lives are interconnected. So if you are not doing well with your financial wellness, it's going to take a toll on your emotional wellness, because every time you get that bill in, every time you hear from the bill collector, every time you look at your statement, you're saying, oh, I know I shouldn't be on Amazon, but you continue doing it. So that dimension it's a trigger, it's a domino effect. From your financial wellness, it's now affecting you emotionally, it's now affecting you mentally, and as a result, it may also affect you physically, because you know what? I know I should be out there exercising, but I'm back on Amazon. I'm back on Amazon. So again, I mean, I could go into all of them. So once we determine which of your dimensions is your demon, is your villain that's sucking, my program will now be tailored around those dimensions. Working with my clients, we come up with small baby steps and solutions to slowly but surely start correcting, making course corrections in that particular area to start slowly bringing you up. So if you initially rated yourself a 3 out of 10 when it comes to your financial wellness, let's move you up to a 4. Maybe let's start with a financial advisor. And then as you meet with the financial advisor, they create a plan for you. Okay, you know what? As opposed to going online 7 days a week, okay, you know what? Maybe I'll just do it once on Saturday. And then once you start realizing, okay, well, I saved a little bit more, I can kind of pay off that bill and I pay off that bill. Well, you know what, agent? I'm going to give myself a 4 out of 10 now, because you know what? I see my bills, the amount of my bills now are starting to lower and I'm feeling a little bit better. So the domino effect, you feel a little proud of yourself. Okay, I'm doing okay. I don't really miss going on Amazon that much. So it's just the small baby steps, incremental steps that we make in those dimensions that you have decided are not worth any more than a 1, 2, 3, 4 out of 10. But you know that, you know what? I want that dimension to be a 7 out of 10. I want that to be an 8 out of 10. And that's what we work at slowly but surely, getting you up to that level that you feel that's where I want to be in that particular area. So it's important that we are all aware of our dimensions of wellness that we basically encompass and make us human beings every single day. So that's how my program, it's tailored for you based on what areas of your life are potentially sucking out your body's precious energy.
I love that. And I love that it's the whole person.
Mm-hmm.
It's the whole being. We take that whole being and we look at you like, okay, it's not just this one thing. It's
The
this
whole picture.
you as a whole. Like you said, everything is interconnected.
That's correct.
And it really, really is. And I love too what you're saying for our listeners, that you don't have to have it all together.
Mm-mm.
Adrienne is saying, I'll meet you where you are. I'll meet you where you are.
Exactly.
And I think that that's so huge, especially in this society where we feel like we have to be
Mm-hmm.
and we have to fix everything before we can show up and
Yeah.
continue. Like, and no, we're saying, meet you where you are.
You where you are. That's right.
And that's all about those baby steps.
Mhm.
I love that. Adrienne, you have been a blast. I love your knowledge. Obviously, we love your energy. It's very evident. And we thank you so much. I know that you told us about your program. And you guys, this will all be in the episode description. But can you tell us where they can find you, where they can learn about this?
Yeah, absolutely. They can reach out to me at energyforlife.energy. Simple as that. Energyforlife.energy. That's where you'll find me.
I love that. Adrienne, thank you so much for blessing us and being here and sharing your story and sharing hope and that it's doable. We need that. So thank you.
You're welcome. Namaste.
The views and opinions expressed by myself and any guest on this podcast are solely ours and do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of any organizations we are affiliated with. The content provided is for informational purposes only and should not be considered as medical advice. As always, consult with a trusted healthcare professional regarding any medical conditions or concerns.